Good day everyone, this is a presentation of REITs I like, sorted by debt profile. Data on all these REITs are accurate as of 30th September 2023. Right, firstly I'd like to apologize that in the previous shooting of this video, alright, actually I got value for MPAC wrong. Alright, in that old video, right, if you have watched the old video, MPAC's interest coverage ratio, I had it at 4.6 times, which is wrong. The correct interest coverage ratio for MPAC, right, at 30th September is actually 3.0 times, right? So I repeat, this 3.0 times is the correct value. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to sort the REITs, the big 6 REITs in Singapore, or these are the 6 REITs that I like, right, by 3 parameters: gearing, percentage debt by fixed interest rates, and interest coverage ratio. And we'll see who comes out the best in terms of each of them and overall, right? Cost of debt I only have for these 3 REITs. I do not have for the Mapletree family, so I won't be doing the comparison. And for credit rating, because they are different agencies, it's difficult to rate them. But overall, you can roughly see who is better than the others lah. Okay, so we start with interest coverage ratio. Who has the best interest coverage ratio? What is interest coverage ratio? Firstly, is the REIT's ability to meet its interest payments, and is calculated by dividing its EBIT by its interest expense. So clearly this value, the higher the better, right? So MIT has the most impressive interest coverage ratio at 4.6 times, and if you go down all the way, MPAC has the weakest interest coverage ratio at 3.0 times, right? Generally speaking, 3.0 still meets the minimum preference for analysts, right? They want to see an interest coverage ratio of minimum 3 or better, right? And because if your interest coverage ratio falls too low, like below 1, it indicates that the company cannot meet its current interest obligations, right? Which means that it's in not good financial health lah, right? So you can see that even the worst REITs, in this case CICT and MPAC, have an interest coverage ratio of 3, right? Not great, but not too bad as well. Right, lowest gearing. Okay, what is gearing? Is the ratio of a REIT's debt to its total assets. Right, clearly this ratio I want it as small as possible. Right, so when I sort by gearing, the smallest gearing is for FCT, who recently divested its Changi City Point, right, to reduce its gearing. I think with Changi City Point, its gearing is something like 39%, if I remember correctly. Right, but now it's at 36.1%, so it performs the best in terms of gearing. Right, then we go down all the way. The one with the highest gearing is actually CICT, right? So that is the weakest REIT in terms of gearing of these top 6. And finally, we look at highest percentage of debt at fixed interest rates. I think I mentioned it before that I think when you fix your debt at the interest rate prevailing, there's pros and cons, right? The pros are that if the interest rate go up, right, your interest rates that you are paying is actually less than what the new higher interest rates are, right? But correspondingly, if interest rates happen to go down, right, then your fixed interest rates become an issue because you're actually paying higher interest rates than what the current interest rates are, right? So, but from a perspective of a business, I think it is better for them to have downside protection. That means to say that they should protect against the fact that interest rates may go up higher and affect their DPU adversely, right? So I think in general, REITs with higher percentage debt at fixed interest rates should get a higher score in terms of being conservative, and therefore MLT is the best in terms of conservativeness in terms of debt, right? It has the highest percentage debt at fixed interest rate, highest percentage of debt at fixed interest rates. Right, the lowest is FCT. Alright, I think one reason hypothetically because FCT's assets are all in Singapore, right? So actually they have less forex risk, so that gives them less fluctuation to their revenue, right? So maybe that's why they are less worried about interest rates. Okay, because at least the FX risk is non-existent. They can take more changes in interest rates. Right. So anyway, FCT scores the lowest in this debt parameter. Right, so how did I do the scoring? Right, basically I'll give you an example of MIT. Right, for each category, a score of 6 is awarded for the REIT that is best in that category. So MIT has scored a 6 here, which means that it's the top in something, which is interest coverage ratio. So MIT is 6 because it is the highest here. Right, let's say if I look at MPAC for this particular component, MPAC will have scored 1, right? So MIT scored 6. We'll look at MIT for the next thing, right? MIT is the third place here. So the third place will get 4 points. How do I know? Because CICT will score 1, MPAC will score 2, MLT will score 3, and MIT will score 4, right? So MIT scores 4 for gearing. And finally, the last debt ratio, right, or the debt parameter that we're looking at, right? MIT scores 3, right? Because FCT will score 1, CICT scores 2, and MIT scores 3, right? So that's how I get a score for MIT to be 6 plus 4 plus 3, which is 13. So I've done the scoring for all the 6 REITs, and this is the result. Ascendus has the best scores for their debt ratios, right? And therefore they are the most conservative REIT in my selection process here. The joint second place goes to MIT and MLT, which both score 13, right? FCT is next at 10, which is 4th place. MPAC is 5th, right? And CICT is the lowest, right? So it's the least conservative REIT with the poorest debt matrix, right? So hope you have learned something from this presentation, and please note that this is not financial advice. Do your due diligence before you make any investments. Thank you very much for your time.